You know, it has really been a while since we talked about kebab on this channel. Don't worry, that is about to change. I will be sharing my absolute best home kebab recipe with you guys, but it's actually not going to be about Doner Kebab. I know it's a little bit of a controversial thing to say as a Berliner, but I've been having an affair. Let me introduce you guys. Hallo, ich nehme einmal Kofte Spezial, bitte. Einmal Spezial. Hamburger Tabones. Neredesin abi? So this is Kofte. Let's open it up. Oh, it smells like grilled meat. It's not from the best store in Berlin, but it's from a very good one. Also happens to be the one in my neighborhood. I mean, you guys, how good does this look, huh? Well, you got these sausage-shaped mini kebabs over here. Super crispy. You got some veggies, you got some super rich sauce, and everything is in this crispy fried bread. All right, let's see how this tastes. Wow. So really unpopular opinion, but to me personally, this thing beats the Doner Kebab. This one is fatty meat, vegetables, and bread in perfect harmony, and it's so good. What else is there left to say? This is so good. But there's another reason I really love Kofte, which is the fact that unlike Doner Kebab, this one can actually be made at home, and it's really simple. Let me show you how. Now, to be clear, because I know there's some confusion there, the word kebab, which comes from Arabic, refers to this whole big family of sometimes very different meat dishes, anywhere from like Eastern Europe all the way to Central Asia and even India. And kofte, or kofta, comes from this old Persian word which means something like minced meat. And that sort of makes kofte like a subcategory of kebab. The recipe I want to share with you guys today is actually inspired by my last trip to Jerusalem, where inside the walls of the old city you can find the legendary Shaheen kebab. That is what it looks like, and this is indeed the man who made one of the best kebabs I have ever tasted to date. What we're gonna do today is I'm gonna take a few of the Lebanese style kebab tricks I learned from Abu Shaheen in Jerusalem, and then I'm gonna combine them with some ideas from the Turkish inspired kofta that is so popular in Berlin. You ready? Let's do this. I'm gonna start this by putting on some safety goggles, which is not much more than a desperate attempt to cry a little bit less while I am grating an onion. Why am I grating this? Well, for a kebab, even a very finely chopped onion will be too chunky. Plus, you really want to keep as much moisture out as possible. This is why I'm gonna squeeze out all that onion juice and only leave the pulp. Now's the time to add the star, our minced meat. You can do almost any type of fatty meat you like, but I'm using beef and mutton, sort of half and half. Now, garlic. Just one clove, tops. It's very easy to add so much that it overpowers your meat. Don't do that. Out of habit, I actually crushed my clove, which is not a good idea. Just peel a whole clove, it will be much easier to grate. And again, chopping it finely would just not be fine enough. The next ingredient will be parsley, which will add a refreshing herbal note. Remove the really thick stalks and then go ahead and chop that parsley as fine as you possibly can. Alright, now here is one of Abu Shaheen's signature tricks. We're gonna chop up some pine nuts. This one actually not too finely, and then add them into the meat mix for a beautiful, fragrant, nutty note. And some bite as well. Now, what would kebab be without seasoning? Actually, the answer is a burger, but never mind that. So first, I am adding a good pinch of salt and some pepper. Easy, right? Next up is cumin. Whenever I'm cooking mutton, this one is a must. I'm also gonna add some chili flakes for heat, and then I'm finishing everything off with a pinch, or maybe two, of MSG. Of course, this is optional, but it will completely elevate your kofte experience. And that's really it. Less is more, guys. Okay, now excuse the glove, but I have some camera gear I need to handle, but you can of course simply use your hands to give our meat mixture a really good mix. If your meat was not as fatty as you had hoped for, you can actually add an additional splash of oil into the mix at this point and then keep kneading until you get a smooth, homogeneous mince. Now the idea is to pre-shape a piece of meat by carefully squeezing with one hand, followed by some rolling between both hands. But this really doesn't matter all that much, and you will see why in just a few moments. I have a little trick up my sleeve. Just go for a free-form sausage about twice as thick as your finger, not my finger, yours, and you should be good. Okay, while the sausages hang out in the fridge, we can do some more prep. Firstly, I'm gonna slice an onion pole to pole into very fine slivers. That's it. Next up, I'm gonna do something I consider very important for average supermarket tomatoes, which is getting rid of all the watery, goopy inside. This allows me to finely dice my tomato without making my sandwich all soggy. Finally, I'll follow my local Kofte dealer's recipe and wash some fresh arugula to contrast the richness of the meat. I also love to add a few spritzes of lemon juice over my Kofte sandwich, so I get that ready too. Now all there's left to do is making a delicious sauce. There are no limits here. I will put this specific recipe on Patreon, but it's basically just 2/3 yogurt, 1/3 mayo, and then you just add any spices and herbs you like. By the way, do yourself a favor and get a squeezy bottle like this. And so, are you ready to make some Kofte kebabs? I sure hope so. It really couldn't be much simpler. Grab a large frying pan, cast iron is my favorite, get it nice and hot and then add a bit of neutral oil. Get your Kofte in there and then fry them from all sides. And I understand frying a sausage-shaped thing from all sides can be a little bit tricky, which is why we're gonna use a little trick I learned from the burger masters in the United States. So, move your ass to the nearby hardware store and get yourself an offset spatula like this. Give it a light brushing with oil and then use it to really smash down your Kofte right after you add them to the pan. Don't worry guys, according to the food lab, in the first 30 seconds you can really squish that meat and don't need to worry about losing juices. Just don't do it after that. Brown both sides of your smashed Kofte patty on medium-high and enjoy the beautiful fragrance of kebab in your kitchen. These Abu Shaheen-inspired mini kebabs with pine nuts, parsley and onions are truly legendarily delicious. But before you eat them all, here's another important hack I learned from my local Kofte guy, and it has to do with bread. For my Kofte, I prefer getting bread from the local Turkish supermarket. Among other varieties, they sell this extremely soft and squishy white bread, which we're gonna open up like a butterfly and then fry in the remaining fat and juices from our Kofte, taking it to the next level. Now finally, spread some sauce on your toasted bread and on a bed of tomatoes, fresh onions and a very generous layer of arugula, place your Kofte, drizzle with some more sauce, onions and a bit of that tangy sumac powder or lemon juice, and then enjoy the Kofte sandwich of your dreams. I'll be very honest with you guys, this Kofte can definitely compete with a Doner Kebab, and in fact I do like it equally as much, or maybe perhaps just a little bit more. Controversial? Don't know. You tell me. Hope you learned something today, and I'm gonna see you in the next video.
This video was brought to you by Andong's epic Patreon supporters. Don't forget to subscribe and smash the bell for weekly food inspiration from all over the world.